Time for Dental Profits webinar series. Today we're going to talk about strategy, what it is, and why you need it. Stay with us. Hi folks, I'm Sean Crabtree. Welcome into Dental Profits webinar series. For the last 20 years, I've worked closely with dentists and dental teams from Vancouver to Barbados and from Nassau to the Great Lakes. This show is all about what I've learned in those 20 years so that you can have happier clients, better results, make more money, and enjoy the ride. Hi folks, and welcome into the Dental Profits webinar series, the show that's all about having you achieve happier clients, better results, making more money, and enjoying the process. You know, we are business strategists. What the heck is a business strategist? And that's what I want to talk to you today. What is a business strategist? What does strategy mean to you, and why do you even need to know anything about that? Well, you know, here's what I would say. If you're all over social media, there's a whole lot of phrases out there like you got to grind it, you got to hustle, you got to get after it, you got to all this kind of stuff. There's no doubt that you have to have a little bit of get up and go, and everybody knows that. But at the end of the day, our belief is that what you really need is strategy. Going out and doing a whole bunch of work without any sort of clear direction and without a clear analyzation of where it is that you're trying to go, what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and how it is that you can improve it, it doesn't make any sense. Strategy trumps grind all the time. Of course, you got to have grind. But grind on top of a strategic direction is how you become the best you can be. That's what this show is all about, and that's what I want for you, is to become the best that you can be. So as business strategists, what the heck are we? Well, what we do is we find out as much as we can about sort of where it is that you want to be, as much as we can about where it is that you currently are. And then we sort of ask a whole bunch of questions, right? You're out there every day. You're going in and you're grinding the work. You're digging the hole. We're asking a whole bunch of questions about ways that you can improve. There's no cookie cutter approach. But at the end of the day, you're coming in and you're digging holes every day. We probably need to ask some questions. First of all, do you even need to be digging a hole? Secondly, and I heard Jay Abraham say it just this way that I'm relating it to you. You know, first of all, do you need to be digging a hole? Secondly, are you the one that needs to be digging the hole? Thirdly, do you need to be using a shovel, or should you be using a pickaxe, or should you be using a heavy equipment, operation? This is the analyzation of strategy. There are things that you do in your business tactically, clinically, technically every day. Before you go spending time, energy, effort, money, and worry to figure out how can I do more, let's analyze what it is that you have going on right now. And I want to give you some examples of that. Let's analyze what it is that you have going on right now. Let's figure out what's working about that. What is it that you need to change? How it is that you can make better? There's a million ways that you can improve your business without adding new patients, as an example. There's a million ways that you can improve your business without adding team members or adding ops. Now, maybe those are things that you would like to do, is add more operators and so forth. But if your ultimate goal is to maximize your business, if your ultimate goal is to create more balance in your life, get home earlier, create more profitability, whatever those goals are for you, before you go spending more money, more time, more energy, doing more, let's analyze what the heck it is that you have going on right now and how we might change that up so that you're getting the maximum from what it is that you're already doing. Now, of course, once you've exhausted getting the very maximum that you can from everything that you're already doing, now of course you take that abundance and now you move forward in terms of spending time, money, energy, and dollars, if that's what you want to do, to increase. But before you even go there, let's maximize what you have. And I'll give you a great example of strategy versus tactically doing. I was talking with a doctor the other day who is seeing about 25 new patients a month right now. Now, of course, this doctor has overhead tied with the ability to see those 25 new patients in terms of staff, in terms of supplies, in terms of, all of those kinds of things, chair, space. All of that is tied to the ability to see that number of new patients as well as the other patients that the doctor is already seeing. Now, if the doctor is wanting to grow, and this particular doctor does want to grow, the doctor's trying to grow his profitability, the overhead is really high. So he's thinking, if I bring in more new patients, then, ultimately I should grow profitability. That's not the case. When you think about, if you're not maximizing those 25 new patients that you have, there's probably a whole bunch of other ways that you can grow the practice without adding more new patients into a mix that you're already have a very high overhead that you're dealing with. So we're asking some different questions. Let's take a look. If you're seeing 25 new patients right now, okay, let's take a look. First of all, how many new patients are you getting in terms of calls to be able to net out 25 new patients? That's a great question to ask. Second of all, out of those 25 new patients, how many of those new patients are accepting full treatment? Now that brought in a sideways question. Out of those 25 patients that you're seeing right now, how many of those are you presenting full treatment on, right, to be able to track all of that? Now, without going into a whole bunch of detail, you know where I'm going with this, right? What we found is that those 25 new patients that we're currently seeing is not being maximized. What we also found is he's having double that amount that are calling the practice to be able to net out 25 who are actually coming to the practice. So there's a couple of opportunities there, right? The marketing is working because the phone is ringing, but how we're handling that initial call is only netting us out 50% of the patients that are calling. There's a big opportunity. You don't have to increase any dollars, time, or anything else to be able to make that happen. Secondly, out of the 25 patients that we're currently seeing that are new, only about 19% of those are accepting the treatment that's presented. So there's two big opportunities just in this one example. Number one, let's figure out a way, if we're having about roughly 50 of those patients call and we're only netting out 25 new patients, then what needs to happen on the intake call for us to be able to net out, say, 40 of those 50? So now we're asking, how is that intake call going? What is it that's working? So we're diving in to figure out, the recordings on those calls to figure out what we need to do differently. What we found is, number one, we're not asking enough questions, right? We're basically, the patient is asking questions, we're answering questions, and then trying to tell the patient why it is that they need to come see us, and we're trying to schedule, and that's only working about 50% of the time. So before we go adding new patients, we're implementing a whole new process on how the current intake call goes. The time is already being spent. The call is already happening. There's no new staff that you need to have to be able to do that. There's no more time that's spent, right? So now we're going for the current scenario to maximize what's already happening. On the other side of the table, treatment acceptance, right? We're not maximizing nearly enough of what we ought to get from the patients that we're already seeing. Now, this turned out to be a double opportunity because over the years, these guys they didn't understand how to create value. So a whole bunch of what was happening is they weren't presenting the entire treatment plan. They were presenting the first step, right? So we're changing the way that they're presenting the treatment to complete treatment presentations. We're also implementing a process. They're already seeing the patients. There's already chair time. There's already staff involved. There's already supplies that are being spent and dedicated to the ability to see those patients. But we're implementing a way to create value so that we're asking questions and we're finding out a whole lot more about what's going on with the heart and the mind of the patient who owns that mouth that we're looking into. Those are some really good examples of how you need to ask yourself, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, don't assume that the way things are is the way that you need to continue to be to grow your practice. I can tell you 100% of the time that is absolutely not the case. There is a million different ways for you to be able to grow your business without building more operatories, hiring more staff, or seeing more patients or spending more dollars, okay? There's a million ways you can do that, and a lot of those we're not even talking about right now. So here's my challenge to you. It's about strategy. Don't take for granted that what you're doing right now is all that you can be doing. There's distribution, there's all sorts of ways that you can change things up. But what you have to do is freeze frame right now. You're in the midst of digging a hole. Stop and ask yourself, first of all, is this a hole that I need to be digging? Secondly, if it is a hole that needs to be dug, am I the one that needs to be digging it, right? Thirdly, if it's a hole that needs to be dug, do I need to be using a spoon? Do I need to be using a shovel? Do I need to be using a heavy piece of equipment? And by analyzing all of those things, you will find a whole bunch of different opportunities without just continuing to do more, work harder, be open more hours, add more days, spend more money for ops, spend more money for marketing. There's a million ways that you can grow your business. And this is true for any business. It doesn't matter if you're a CPA, if you're an attorney. It doesn't matter if you're a heating and air company. It doesn't matter if you're a massage therapist. It doesn't matter if you're a yoga instructor, right? There's a million ways for you to maximize what you're already doing before you go spend time, energy, dollar, effort, and money to add more due to your already current list. That's what we do, and you can do it on your own just by freeze framing and asking yourself, stop putting your effort and energy into stuff that you're doing and start asking yourself, is this what I really need to be doing? Am I the one who really needs to be doing it? Do we need different tools to be able to maximize it? This is the way that you strategize to be able to get the most that you possibly can out of your business. And that's why we consider ourselves business strategists rather than this catch-all word, consultants. So I hope that makes sense. This show is all about you maximizing, and that's what I want for you. I want you to maximize your current business without going, into spending more time away from your family, or spending more dollars, or spending more days, or spending more effort, or spending more, creating more space in your business. And there's a million ways to do it, and it starts with you asking the right questions. If you need some help on this, of course, we'd love for you to reach out and ask us, and you don't have to be paying us for that, right? Find us at thecrabtreegroup.com. Go to the YouTube button, hit subscribe, and that way everything that we're doing will go directly to your inbox in terms of videos, and you got all sorts of resources just in that. You can reach out to us. You can find us on, you can find us on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook. All of these things right here down at the bottom that Casey has got laid out there. You can find us in all of those areas, and we are very happy to help. I appreciate you joining me today on Dental Profits webinar series, where it's all about you having happier clients, better results, making more money, but it's also about enjoying the ride. I'm Sean Crabtree. I'll see you next time.